Hello, everybody. Welcome to INK&BLOOD. And this is our seventh episode with Kanikulam. Today, there was an interesting development in Turkey. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan blasted the United States, and he said that hold your dog's leashes, referring to Israel. And then he was saying that this pattern should not continue. And then we will be discussing about Turkey's relations and response and problems with Hamas and Israel. Go ahead, Kani.
When I read or listened to the statement, I thought, wow, it's a direct challenge to the U.S. Hakan Fidan may think he is as powerful as Russia or as powerful as China. A superpower can threaten the U.S. Emerging market, developing country like Turkey, threatening U.S. I was puzzled by it. I mean, Turkey has no power to threaten the U.S. Turkey has no muscle to carry out this threat. So I was pleasant. I mean, not pleasantly, but I was surprised to hear it.
Is it? Do you think that out of frustration, as Hakan Fidan was presented as if it's a frustration, because he was telling that, look, Israel was doing the aggression, right? Israel is the aggressor in this case, and United States is doing the cleanup after Israeli aggression and running around the regions in the countries and telling that, please do not escalate, please do not escalate. And he says, well, enough is enough, and please hold your dog's leash over here. So, I mean, is it kind of an out of a frustration that United States does not do anything about Israel, or is it because he was planning and playing for domestic politics or regional affairs?
Oh, I would definitely say he's playing for the domestic audience. I would definitely say he is playing for the regional audience. Hamas did attack Israel. Hamas killed civilians. Hamas, does not believe in the presence of Israel in the land known as Palestine. It openly wants to wipe out the state of Israel. And I think, Hakan Fidan would have been serving his country better if he had also addressed the issue of what does Hamas want and what can the international community do for the desires of a group like Hamas. I think in the West, Hamas is equated with almost Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda attacked the U.S. On 9/11. And on October 7, Hamas attacked Israel. So in the West, there's no sympathy for Hamas. There is, and I think Netanyahu reads this well. And I think Netanyahu is not willing to sit down and talk with Hamas. People say, people who study this issue a lot more than I do, say that Ismail Haniyeh was for negotiations. But that would have meant, accepting Hamas, almost replacing it with Palestinian Authority, because it had all this publicity in the world. I think Israel wants to eliminate it. I think Israel wants to follow what the U.S. did, what Obama did with Osama bin Laden. It wants to neutralize this area. But there's outside of Israel in the world, there's a lot of sympathy for Palestinians, and a superpower like U.S. could play a role in reducing the temperature. But America is going through an election right now. America has really no bandwagon or the the capacity to deal with this issue. And I think Netanyahu, as I have said repeatedly, doesn't believe in sitting down with a group like Hamas, and he feels like he could take on Hamas and take on Hezbollah and let Turkey, quote unquote, bark as much as it wants.
I mean, when I heard Hakan Fidan saying that hold your dog's leash, and first thing that came to my mind was who will hold the leash of Hamas at the first place, right? Somebody should have hold their leashes so that they could not attack Israel. But things happen. But what I saw Hakan Fidan's frustration, if it is a frustration, is that I would normally expect such reactions from Iran and Iranian officials. But there was a reporting on Kuwaiti newspaper 2 days ago, and today it was asked the U.S. I think State Department spokesperson. It was an interesting thing, and it was saying that U.S. officials went to Iran and negotiated or talked with Iranian officials directly in Iran, and they were given a city name. And today, American spokesperson for the State Department was asked this question, whether Iranian officials visited Iran to, discuss the possible Iranian reactions and response to simply calm things down. Interestingly, he did not reject the reporting.
Deny it. I see.
He did not deny it. It was so interesting. It appears that the United States actually visited Iran. At least if there was no such visit, I mean, we should expect from him to deny. And he said that, yes, we are negotiating through third parties and other means. And I think he indirectly acknowledged the reality. It appears that the United States is putting extra mile and extra effort to calm Iran down. And so far, by the way, I see much more calm responses from Iran. But I got surprising response from Hakan Fidan. I mean, as if Israel hit Turkish capital. I don't know why Hakan Fidan is so frustrated about this, while Iran is relatively calm.
Well, Hakan Fidan, as you know, I don't know if this plays a role in it. I'm just thinking out loud, as they say, is Sunni, considered the death of the assassination of Hania as declared him a martyr. Mm-hmm. As you know, there's a Sunni Shiite division in the Islamic faith. I am happy that Americans have, if it's true, have gone to Iran. I'm happy to hear that Americans are trying to reduce the temperature. I mean, I don't know if what Hamas did, if you really think about it, is unforgivable. It's not something that any country in the region would tolerate. I mean, PKK has been fighting Turkey for years. PKK has never kidnapped civilians. PKK has never raped and displayed or has been proud of raping, let's say, Turkish women. So I mean, you and I went over this issue in our Twitter Spaces discussions. I mean, I think in the long run, Islamic Muslims have to come to an understanding with the presence of a Jewish state in the Middle East. And if they don't, I mean, then we're really asking for a wider war. We're asking for a greater fight, if you will. And in that sense, in that case, I don't think Turkey has a chance. I mean, I think so long as the U.S. stands by Israel, so long as Europe stands by Israel, we're looking at unfolding misery in the Middle East, in Iran, in Turkey, and since I'm a Kurd, I mean, it's definitely going to change the map of the region. The region is not on the foundations of justice. There are a lot of major issues in Turkey. There are a lot of issues in Iran. And a little shakeup, a little political earthquake could mean unraveling, almost like Sykes and Picot times, redrawing of the boundaries, or almost like 1991 in the Soviet Union, when the whole Soviet experiment exploded and 15 new republics declared their independence. So I think it could go there too, but I just think also a lot of people will suffer, and a lot of poor people will suffer. So I am not for war. I think every sane person should do everything they can to limit this war, to bring it to an end. And I think Turkey is adding fuel to the fire by saying that the U.S. Needs to hold on to the leash because the Israeli dog is going wild in the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I think Europeans have a dent in their history for trying to eliminate Jews from the face of the earth. It's a shame. It's a dark side. Now it appears that Islamists, I don't call them Muslim. I think I definitely separate them, Islamists, from the everyday Muslims. Islamists now wanted to bring this shame to the Muslim world. I think we should avoid this. I mean, it was the Caliphate Omar who brought the Jews to Jerusalem, no matter how crazy Netanyahu or right-wing Zionist is in Israel is. I think Israel should exist and should coexist with the Muslim. And there is in Muslim history, it was the first constitution written between Jews and Prophet Muhammad in the world history, and it was the Medina Declaration. And I think Muslims should have should be proud of their history and their good relations. From time to time, of course, expectedly, you have ups and downs in their relationship, but at least there are documents. There are places that Muslim can coexist and had coexisted with other religions as well. I think Muslims should not follow these Islamists in both Shiite Islam or Islamist in Sunni Islam, like Hakan Fidan, to simply try to wipe out Israel. I think there is a place for Israel in Palestine or in Israel today, and I think we should find a way to live together peacefully. I think the land is more than enough for both people. I think they should learn from Israeli development. If they simply get rid of this enmity toward Israel and Jews, I think it would benefit to the Muslims around in this region. I think we have a history of having such good relationship in the region. I think it's an opportunity to have Israel out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Muslims can be tolerant, and there are Muslims who are intolerant, of course. I mean, I think if you look at, go back to Hakan Fidan, in the last 20 years in Turkey, you and I grew up in Turkey. I had never seen a imam holding a sword while preaching. This practice was during Ottomans. The world was divided into Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. But with Ataturk's coming, this practice was set aside, and preachers preached, but nobody held either a staff or a sword. And when Hagia Sophia was turned into a mosque, a holy church for a lot of Christians, and the imam held a sword and preached that we conquered this house of worship. Erdogan's Turkey has definitely, in my opinion, taken a turn for the worse. Is now almost wants to divide the world into Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Islam. And if that happens, I think Erdogan's career will speedily come to an end. And I think Hakan Fidan's career also could come to an end. It's easy to threaten, but it's harder to really be able to do something about nuclear. I mean, Israel is a nuclear power. If Israel wanted to get rid of, let's say, Gaza, it could just drop a bomb or two and then completely wipe it out. Israel hasn't done that to its credit. Yes, it's fighting, ferociously. Hamas is embedded in the population, which is a crime, in my opinion. If Hamas wants to follow the rules of war, it should, follow the rules of war, and then it will be fine. But the way we have it right now, we don't have it on a healthy trajectory. We have it on a course that could get worse, and I don't think the region needs war. I think, as I agree with you, the region is big enough for 7 million Jews and 7 million Palestinians, as well as 450 million Arabs who live in the 22 Arab countries in the region.
Yeah, I have little objections to what you just said. I think people may misunderstand here. And you said that Israel could have, dropped a bomb, an atomic bomb over there and wiped this out, and they did not. Therefore, they all of a sudden could become the good guy. No, I don't think Israel can be good guy. And by the way, I don't think Israel can drop an atomic bomb in anywhere near Gaza. It also means that it's people also can be wiped out as well. So we should not discuss that. I think we should reject what Israel has been doing in Gaza. I mean, just like in the rooms, one guy asked me, was there any option for Israel to do better war in Gaza? I think there was. I think Israel proved that there was an option by killing Haniya in Tehran alone. If Israel is able to find Haniya and kill him in Tehran, I think they could have find Hamas military generals in Gaza and easily kill them without killing this many civilians. I think they were able to, they had a capacity to do that, but they are willing not to choose that path, perhaps because that Israel wanted to reestablish its power projection over the region and deterrence effect over there. I think they have their strategic calculation, unfortunately caused the tens of thousands of civilian deaths. So just having my objection. But I have a quick question on that. Just last week, we were discussing on the room that Erdogan also had threatened Israel, and he said one day we wanted to come. Now, first Erdogan, now Hakan Fidan. Could they be serious?
Only in their dreams they can invade Israel. The balance of power does not favor Turkish invasion of Israel. Turkey is only a threat to Syria, to Iraq. Even Greece now has more sophisticated weapons than Turkey does. I mean, Turkey should not be in the business of threatening regional powers. Turkey should be in the business of fixing its economy, expanding the boundaries of freedom and liberty for its citizens. But the people who are running Turkey, in my opinion, are not interested in freedom, are not interested in enriching the population. They are they have this ideology that they are superior, and unfortunately they're also racist relative to the Kurds. They see Kurds less. They see themselves on a pedestal. But I go back to the issue that you raised. No nation should be expected to commit suicide for the sake of another nation. We have facts on the ground. We have 7 million Palestinians living in historic Palestine, and we have 7 million Israelis living in Palestine. From the river to the sea, when you say the way Hamas says Palestine shall be free, then you are negating the very existence of Israel. And I think when Fidan says stop Israel, I think the clear message should be stop Hamas and the ideology behind Hamas. Instead, Turkey is pumping it. Turkey is giving it credence, giving it credibility, and pumping it up. And that only means more trouble ahead. That only means Turkey's woes will increase. That only means Turkey will be more and more discredited in Europe as well as in America, in the world. Christianity is based on Judaism. The Christian faith is there are more adherents of Christian faith than there are adherents of the Muslim faith. And I think the faiths of the world, Islam, Christianity, Jews, have to find a way to live together. But if they decide to fight, I think people will even provoke the Shiites versus the Sunnis, the way Henry Kissinger used to say when Iran and Iraq were fighting, let them fight each other. We have nothing to gain from their fight, and we can only gain more stability if they exhaust each other. I think when groups like Hamas are supported by Iran, I become leery. Why are they supporting Hamas? Only to do Iran's bidding. And why does Iran doesn't want Israel? Iran doesn't have a border with Israel. I mean, Iran should mind its own business, and Israel should mind its own business. Yes, Iran can support the Palestinian cause. That there's nothing wrong with that. But when it arms a group like Hamas, and when it sets it on a suicidal path, then I think in the long run, Iran will hurt, Turkey will hurt, the region will hurt.
Yeah, just a side note. I just needed to mention that there was a reporting today in some of the social media accounts, and it appears that I checked one of them. At least it appears that it was correct that social media users found out that Turkish ships still carrying goods and stuffs to Israel today, as of today, and through Mersin and Izmir, despite the fact that Erdogan regime was claiming that they stopped trade with Israel. That is one thing that it may trigger Hakan Fidan to do these types of tough talk, but it appears that underneath all the trades and support to Israel continues. And also there was a reporting in Turkish newspaper Karar, and saying that despite the fact that Erdogan claimed that Erdogan is was going to join South Africa to simply bring a support South African case in ICC against Israel, but it appears that despite it was announced, and despite he number of times stated that Turkey had not joined South Africa against Israel. So I think there was two obvious cases that it now on the surfacing once again, and it could simply harm Erdogan regime and its hypocrisy when it comes to dealing with Israel and simply using the blood of Palestinians and selling the bloods of Palestinians literally for Israeli money. I think he needed to talk a tough talk, and that's why I think they were doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I think this war, ugly as it is, criminal as it is, painful as it is, it's also doing something that it's cleansing the language. It's showing the hypocrisy of governments like Turkey and even Iran. You cannot, blame Israel for dominating Palestinians when you yourself are dominating your own minorities, when you yourself are afraid of, like, say, in Turkey, as I know, Kurds have been riding on the streets traffic signs in Kurdish,
Yeah.
and the government of Turkey has declared a war.
I think we should discuss about it in one episode. Yeah, I think it is funny.
Imagine in the birthplace of writing 6,000 years ago, and the engine that gave civilization its head start, the writing, is now under threat. It just happens to be in Kurdish, and this country is calling Israel, a committer of genocide. It's showing the hypocrisy. It's showing the contradictions, and maybe this will be the silver lining of this war. I personally think dialogue is better than killing people. The region is large enough, rich enough for Palestinians, for Kurds, for Israelis, for Turks, for Persians. But if we pursue a policy of domination, if we deny others what we take for granted for ourselves, then we are going to have these conflicts and this bloodshed in the months, in the years to come, and poor Middle East. God help the Middle East.
Well, but there is one problem with your suggestion, dialogue. Dialogue kills hypocrisy. And in the Middle East, without hypocrisy, you can't have leaders. If there is a dialogue, I don't think there would have been any hypocrisy in the Middle East. I think when you have a full of hypocrites ruling the region, I think dialogues, unfortunately, do not have a chance. But I have one last question for you. Today, Donald Trump stated that I learned today Iran is going to attack on Israel. And it was Donald Trump's statement. Of course, he could have, manipulate this, but we are expecting Iran to attack. Do something, at least. At the same time, they are negotiating with the United States officials and accepting and meeting them in Iran. Do you think that Iran really seriously hurt and attack Israel?
Well, if Iran has accepted U.S. Negotiators or U.S. representatives inside its country, then I have to give them credit for, doing everything they can not to be the authors of this awful war. You may not like Iranians. You may disagree with their ideology, but if they're talking, you have to give them credit. It's better than, fighting. As far as candidate Donald Trump having access to information that is super secret, if you will, I think he has a canny ability to grab headlines. He knows how to, come up with a sentence, with a word, and then be the talk. He's not doing well with Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris apparently has caught up with him in the polls. So he wants to change the topic. He has the backing of the Israeli lobby in terms of what goes on in the Middle East. He was the most sympathetic leader to Israel in terms of moving the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. If he wins the election, I think Netanyahu will feel invincible, even attack more. I think he is, he knows how to grab attention. He knows how to create headlines. He is a power to be reckoned with in the American politics. And if he gets elected, in the world history. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think he's a manipulative BS. Let's end over here, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.